Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinars in 2021. It's nice to be back, and we are going to talk about oxygen, and we are going to talk about oxygen basics today, our measurement software. But before we start, I would like to explain some organizational things. On your right side of your webinar tool, you can see a chat. This chat is used so that you can ask us questions. Those questions are anonymous. Nobody else of the participants can see this, just me and my colleague, and we are going to try to answer them during or at the end of the webinar if the time allows us to do so. If not, we are going to contact you afterwards via email and answer your question via email. There are also some handouts available also on your right side for download during the whole webinar. Use this possibility as well, and for further information, of course, join and visit our homepage. So let's start. Today I'm going to be your moderator. My name is Ivica Baresic, and I'm sales and business developer for Austria, and I'm joined by my wonderful colleague Verena Niederkofler, application engineer and know-how expert here at DEWETRON. Hello, Verena.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Do you want to say something to our viewers?
Like you already said, my name is Verena Niederkofler, and I am the product application engineer, and I will show you all the things you need to know about oxygen, about the basic oxygen today. So I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. So let's jump into it, and let's start with the very first basic thing. Show us your screen.
Yes.
And just to see if everything is working properly. Yes, that wonderful background. Perfect. Everything is working. So the very first questions that we receive very often is, it happens very often that the DEWETRON measurement system is in use by another colleague of that engineer, and for example, at a test bench. And the question is it possible to prepare a measurement even if the measurement system, the hardware, is not available prior to that? Yeah.
Yes, so the short answer to that is yes. The little bit longer answer is to show you our DEWETRON Explorer, which I will open here. So this is automatically installed on your DEWETRON system if you have one, and you can also install this with the Trion bundle with Oxygen on your PC in your office, for example. And there, as you can see, if I have hardware connected, I have a TrionNet here connected to my laptop. I can see my TrionNet connected here. So one short functionality I would like to mention is the self-test. So you can actually click on the TrionNet here or on a specific card, and you perform a self-test, which will test the hardware functionalities. Depending on the module you use, there are slight differences. But in general, it's really nice to have this feature available. And you get an XML file afterwards, so you can also save it if needed. The other thing is the firmware update, which is very easy to perform here. So you get a warning if a firmware update must be done, which can easily be done by clicking on this button. But coming back to your first question is to set or to create a setup whenever you don't have your hardware available. So I will just disconnect my TrionNet here, so it should disappear, yes, and then I will open the demo tab. Here, as you can see, we have a whole list with all the chassis which are available, and now you can just configure your measurement system the way you would like to. So let's take a PA7 or PA8, for example. Click on Add. And if we expand the layer here, we can see 8 available slots. And if I click on the slot, I have all my available Trion cards, which I can either by double click, fill that up, or just by clicking on Add. I can just configure my system here, and then I don't have to do that each time. So I can also save my demo system as it is by up here by saving the demo system to file, or also the next time whenever I use it again, I can load my demo system here. In order to save this and use it in Oxygen, I just click on Exit, save it, and now I will open Oxygen. And there we can see then that we can use this demo system and get simulated signals to build our whole setup, which we can then take on a USB stick, for example, and load it on our measurement device. So here you can see the PA8 with the cards I selected and all the simulated signals.
Perfect. Perfect. So
Okay.
that's now on your PC and there is no PA8 connected or anything else. So
No.
that's really a simulated system now, and you can now prepare like any kind of settings that you would like then put on the real system to do the measurement. Yeah.
Okay, so but for the next things, I'm gonna use my Trionet. So I'm gonna delete the demo system again. Therefore, I will open my demo tab and just select it and click on remove. And I will select my or connect my Trionet again. And now it should appear here. Yes. So everything is working. And now I close it and save it again. Otherwise, the demo system will be saved again. And I want to use my real hardware.
So what I want to point out, sorry that I interrupt you, is this possibility to prepare a setup or a system on another computer, or like you did it on your business computer, on your office computer. There is no extra license necessary for this. So if you have a license we need licenses to do the measurement, but to prepare and analyze, and as you did now, to prepare a setup, that's not necessary. Even now, even if you're not a customer of DEWETRON, you can download the Oxygen and the drivers, and you can already play with the software and simulate stuff. So that's, I think, very important to highlight. Yeah, so let's continue. We have now connected the real hardware. You have connected your front-end Trionet to your computer, and I would like that you give us just a brief overview of the first things that we see when we start Oxygen. So really basic stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see, you see my my empty measurement screen of Oxygen, and just to give you a short overview of the most important buttons and things. The first thing I would like to show you is the overview bar. This overview bar shows a time-dependent trend of one selected channel, which can be also changed here. So I can choose any channel and just drag and drop it up here in my overview bar. Here I see some menu tabs, system settings, data channels list, the instrument properties, instruments where I can design my measurement screen as I would like to. For example, a digital meter and a recorder. Place it here. Or I can just choose my channels. Then we have the export and the trigger events, which we will see also later. Then, as you could already see, whenever I arranged my screen, the grid disappeared, or it appeared in the background. So we switched to design mode, which can be enabled down here in the action bar. So if I click on it, the grid disappears again, and my screen or my instruments are fixed. I cannot change them anymore. If I enable it, the grid appears and I can arrange my screen again the way I would like to. The other important buttons down here are to lock the screen, so I can lock my screen, so I cannot do anything without me noticing. I can use my cursors, which I will see a little bit later. I can start the recording, stop the recording, and of course open a data file and open and save a setup file here. And the last two buttons or menu tabs are up here, which is the screen and the reporting menu. So on the screen menu, I can, of course, add multiple measurement screens. I can also duplicate my first screen by clicking on the clone button here. And which is also really nice to know, I can also use a measurement screen on a separate monitor. So if I have multiple monitors on the test bench or on my office or somewhere, I will try to show it here. So I will minimize oxygen. So I just click on my measurement screen until the blue border appears. I hope you could see that, and just drag it outside. And now I have a new monitor or a new screen, which I can use on a separate monitor. If I would like to change my measurement screen here, I can just do that inside of Oxygen. So I will enable the design mode, and here I can rearrange my screen. And as you can see, it also happens on the monitor on my second external measurement screen. Okay, so that would be a first overview of the first thing you see whenever you open Oxygen.
Perfect. So it's important to know that it's possible to have two different screens available at the same time. So if you have two monitors, you can have two windows separated with two different informations, which is allowing to have a better overview over the measurement that you do. So before starting measurement, of course, like with any other measurement system, it's important and it's necessary to configure your measurement and the channels, of course. Could you please show us how easy this is done within Oxygen?
Yes, so I will open my data channels list. And just to give you a short overview here, so we can see an overview picture of my connected systems. I have my Trionet with the two modules I have in there. There are different filter options available up here. I can change the layers here, which is if I have only two modules, I don't really need it, but it's really nice to know and to use it if you have a large system with a lot of channels. It's easier to navigate through the channels here. Then here I see the name of the module. Here I have my according channels. By clicking on a channel, I can change the channel name. So I have two tuning forks here, which have strain gauges. So I will just configure one right now, and I will show you. So I will just change the name, tuning fork 1 for this one. Here you can change the color of your channel. Here you open the channel settings. Then I would just like to explain you the difference between these two buttons. This is the active button. So if I disable this one, this channel, you can see that the scaled or first overview of the scaled value of the channel disappears. So the system does not acquire any data from this channel anymore. If I enable it again, it comes back, so data will be acquired and it will be stored on the hard disk. If I disable the stored button, it turns gray. Now the system acquires data from the channel, but it will not be stored anymore to the hard disk. So this is especially nice to have if I use a high sample rate and I don't really need all the raw data, but I would like to use this channel for some calculations. I can just disable the stored button so I can acquire data, use it in a formula, store the formula channel, but I don't have to store and take all the space on my hard disk for this raw data. And to enable it again, I just click on the button. The last thing here is the sample rate. So as you maybe already know, you can change the sample rate for a whole module by just clicking on the sample rate and selecting a desired sample rate. But you can also change the sample rate for single channels. So to do that, you also click on the sample rate and click on Enable Reduction. And then you get a drop-down list where you can choose any desired sample rate, reduce sample rate for this channel as the target rate. We click on OK. And now, as you can see, it's blue in order to show you that this is a reduced sample rate. Okay, coming back to my tuning forks, we'll take this one. So this is the first one, yes. I will open my channel settings by clicking on this button. So as I already said, it's strain gauge sensors. I will select the bridge mode. It's a quarter bridge with a 350 ohm. I will also balance it and change the range to smaller range. Okay, so that is actually it for my sensor. I can close the settings, and actually I would be ready to start the recording now.
Perfect. But before going to recording, you already mentioned the possibility, of course, to have a huge number of channels as well. Imagine not having only 6 channels, but 100 or even more, or 50, it doesn't matter. And how to configure these kind of systems. Now, do you have an example on how to do it with the similar kind of sensors, or even the same sensors if you have them multiple times, and how fast this can be done within Oxygen?
Yes, so there's actually different possibilities. If I want to change the mode, for example, or the range, some settings for multiple sensors, for multiple channels, I can select my channels, and now I can change, for example, the mode on these channels at once, so all of them change. I can also select the range and select another range for my channels, and all of them are changed. This also works with the scaling factor, for example. Otherwise, I can select my channel here and do my settings. Let's select the scaling factor, it doesn't matter. Now I have configured my channel, and now I would like to apply these settings to my other channels. I can just select the channel and press Ctrl+C on my keyboard, so the Windows shortcut for copy. As you can see here, hopefully, one channel copied to clipboard. And now I just select all my other channels I would like to apply the settings for, and click on or press Ctrl+V for paste. And now, as you can see, all my settings were applied to my other channels. So this is a very nice and easy way to configure one channel, and then you can just apply all the settings to the other channels. Of course, the settings must be available on the module, otherwise it will not work. Yes. Just a side note. The other possibility is also to use our sensor database. So therefore, I will just switch to my system settings and click on sensors. And here you can see already a long list of sensors I configured once. So here you can add a sensor, you can do all the settings for multiple sensors. This sensor database is saved as an XML file, and you can also use this XML file and put it or use it on another PC to load in Oxygen, so you don't have to configure it each time. Okay, so going back to my data channels list, I will configure my second tuning fork by opening setup. And here I want to choose my sensor, so I will just click on it and use my sensor. This is the German name for tuning fork now, but anyways, now I apply all my settings to my sensor. I will just balance it and also change my name, tuning fork 2, and now I'm done. So this is a very easy way to apply the settings for different sensors if I configure the sensors once before.
Perfect. That's really perfect, and it just shows how easy and fast you can work, even if you have multiple signals used within Oxygen. That's nice. So now we have configured the channels menu. I just want to have a short reminder again to our viewers. If you have basic questions regarding Oxygens, like for the channels menu or any instruments that you see, please ask us. We're going to try to answer them during or after or directly after the webinar or at the end of the webinar. If we do not have the time, because time may run out, we are going to answer it later on with an email. Use our chat as explained to do so. And yes, so now we have, as I said, configured the channels menu, and we would like to see those channels in some instruments. Could you show us some basic instruments?
Yes, so as you can already see, I use my recorder and the digital meter, which are probably the two most used instruments. So I will just enable my design mode again and maybe rearrange my screen. Maybe add for the digital meter also my second tuning fork. I would like to have another display for it, like this maybe. And since we're using a tuning fork, I would also like to see the FFT, and I will use a spectrum analyzer for it, which I just drag and drop out here. And I will use my first tuning fork for it. Now I can also do some scaling things, like for the FFT. I selected my instrument. I want to set a marker, okay. And open my instrument properties. I would like to have another right line resolution, and here multiple settings are available, which we will not go into detail today. I will just like to set the axis, so okay, that's enough. And for my recorder, I would also change the axis up here to maybe 3. I'm not sure which setting I used before. Oh, that's 2. Let's see if that works. Just configure it like this. Okay, so if I click on my name, on the name of the channel, it will automatically scale my recorder, which I always use. This is the easiest way to scale, yeah. I think.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. And for the digital meter, there's also some properties available. Here I see my actual value now, which changes really fast, but I would like to see the average value in a time window of 0.25 seconds. Okay, perfect. So I will be done.
So enough talking, let's start the recording.
Let's start the recording. Okay, so to start the recording, I will just press the record button. Okay, and now I have my tuning forks. I will press them together. As you can see, the signal. You can hit them on the table a couple of times. Okay, and now, see the signal here. Okay, so and now, sometimes it's also needed to look into the past of the data while recording. So now I would like to see these first seconds of my recording, which is possible. So I will show you the déjà vu function. I will just select my recorder and drag the data to the right. So as you can see, the data stopped here, but the recording didn't stop, as you can also see in the overview bar. If I hit my tuning fork again and in my FFT instrument. So now I can just navigate through my channel, through my data, and you can also see this yellow box in the overview bar, which displays the time range which I'm looking at in my recorder. I can also use this and drag it around, or I can zoom or just use my mouse. So both is possible. So now I see my data, the recording is still going on. I can also do some analysis. I can, of course, configure my measurement screen again if I would like to see or have another instrument. I can use my markers if I select the recorder and click on the cursor, and cursors, not markers, cursors. And now I can just use my cursors and already do some analysis if needed, or if I would like to. To go back to the time point, which I'm measuring right now, I just click on these two arrows. And as you can see, if I press the tuning forks, the measurement is still going on. And to stop, I will just click the stop button.
Perfect. So all those settings, so you change the view of your recorder, you change the view and the average of your digital instrument, and everything was done during recording. So that's everything possible during recording. Also, the deja vu function was available during recording, where you can, via the cursors, like for example, find out what was the min and max and the average during that time, and you can have a view at the recorder. That's just a very nice function to have while recording. You don't have to stop your recording or abort your recording, which is so important in so many long-term measurements. Perfect. So I have a short question to our audience. Have they checked the clock? Have they checked how many minutes did pass since we started this webinar? Because during those 20 minutes that we started presenting Oxygen while talking, we showed you within 20 minutes how to set up a measurement, how to do the configuration. We did a recording, we did some kind of analysis as well. Everything within 20 minutes, we have been ready to do a measurement. And that's just possible because of our so intuitive and simple to use measurement software. I just want to point that out once more. Enough of talking from my side. It is very important also to be able to record on a trigger arena. Of course, in Oxygen, this is possible. And could you show us how easy that is to be used?
Of course. So let's open the trigger menu. Okay, we will change the mode from continuous recording to event-based recording. And here I already see my pre and my stop after time, which I can select if I would like to. So for example, I will select a pre time of 1 second and a stop after time of 3 seconds. So this explains it pretty well, this picture down here. So for example, here my event happens. I selected a pre-time of 1 second, so that would be the 1 second here. And after 3 seconds, the recording would stop or pause. And in between, I will only record some statistics data. So I have like an overview of my data, but I don't use the full sample rate. To add an event, I'll just click on add event and I will use my tuning fork. And whenever my tuning fork should be higher, should exceed a limit, a threshold of 0.2, the recording should start as the action. Of course, multiple events can be added here, or also more actions to one condition. And another important thing is if I want to be sure that I've selected the right channel here, or if my event even happens or can happen if I did it the right way, I can look at my 2 bars here. And if I press my tuning fork, I can see them turning red. So I can see that the event works and it will happen afterwards. So I don't have to like start the recording and try if I even have the whole settings right, which is really nice. So that would already be it for the events, and I can come back to my measurement screen. So as you can see, the recording button has a little flash inside now. So to arm the trigger. So I will arm the trigger. And now I can press my tuning fork and you can see the recording started and it stopped after the 3 seconds. I can do it again. The recording started and it will stop after the 3 seconds. To can also again. Okay, so now we have 3 different sections, and to stop, I just click on the stop again, and the recording is done.
Perfect. So measurement done, and we did see how important it is also to have on a trigger a pre-time, because the trigger can happen, but the conditions to that trigger could have happened prior to the trigger. So if you need to know why the trigger happened as well, you can record 10 seconds prior to the trigger with full sampling rate, which is so important to do some analyzing if you don't know why that trigger happened. So up to 10 seconds prior to the trigger, full recording with our pre-time function. That's very nice to have. Yes, measurement now. Now it's important to analyze that data, the measurement, and show us how this is done within Oxygen.
Okay, so let's just open the data file, the last one. I want to save my settings here. And as you can already see, here in the overview bar, the 3 sections. So let's zoom in the first one maybe. So in between, this is the statistics data. So because sometimes people wonder why you can see data here. So this is the statistics data, and it will show the whole range, the minimum maximum range. This is why it's a whole block of data actually, but it's just some statistics value like the minimum, maximum, average, and RMS value, which can be changed in the instrument properties. So I can change it here. I can also hide it, so I don't see the statistics data in between, or just show an average value, for example.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see here, my trigger was I armed the trigger here, and here the event happens whenever this channel reached 0.2 and milliwotts per volt, and here is the pre-time. So this is the 1 second of my pre-time, which I said before. So I also recorded the data for 1 second before the event. So I can also check, like you already said, what happened before in order for the event to happen.
It's up to 10 seconds, as I can remember.
It's up to 10 seconds, yeah. Okay, so in order to also show data in the digital meter, I have my time cursor up here, which I will bring into my recorder, and I can navigate through my data with my time cursor here. I like before, also I can use my cursors to see some statistical values. I can select more values to be calculated in my instrument properties here. I can arrange my screen also if I enable the design mode. So that's also possible in the post-processing. If I'm not happy with my measurement screen, if I'm not happy with the design, I can also redo everything here. So I'm not bound to one design I have done previously.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And of course, some calculations are also important.
Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm.
So I will show you how to do that in the post-processing. I will just open my channel settings. So in order to add a formula channel, I will select my tuning fork, click on the Add button, and here I get this pop-up window where I have some basic math functions like adding a formula channel. I can create statistics, filter, or FFT channels, which I can select here. We also have available a lot of advanced math functions which are really specific to applications. So if someone is interested in those, let us know and we will get back to you after the webinar, since this is too much for a basic webinar today.
Yes.
But as you already see, we have just one feature which is new for Oxygen 5.4 is the mill standard decoder. So we can now receive and decode signals from mill, and the ARIC decoder was already implemented in 5.3. So getting back to the formula channel, I will create my formula channel now by clicking on Add, and I would like to display the sum of the tuning forks just as a okay. So this is done. Just maybe change the color here. Okay. And now I can add my formula channel to my recorder and maybe navigate somewhere where I also use my second tuning fork. Here, yeah. I'm not sure if you can see it. Very good. But as you can see here, it's only the first tuning fork, and here I also use my second tuning fork, and the green channel is the sum of the two tuning forks now.
Perfect. So doing calculations and math operations offline is nice to have, of course, and it's important because not all the time when you are on a live measurement, you know what analysis you want to do. But it is because at least at the second time, if you do that measurement the second time, you already know. It is also important to have those evaluations online during measurement as well. So first question, is it possible within Oxygen to have math calculations and evaluations online during the measurement? And if yes, how is this achieved?
Of course, it's possible. So I can do that while creating my setup, for example. But if I forgot, like if I do my analysis and I create the formulas, and then I think, oh, actually, I would like to do that online, like during my analysis, and not do that offline again to record everything and have that in my recording afterwards. It is possible now by just clicking on the Store Setup button here, which I can select a folder and I will just store my setup somewhere. And the next time, so all the settings are stored in my setup file now. I can save my my formulas also here. So the next time it's also saved in my data file. I will just eject this and I will show you how to load the setup. So we will return to the Oxygen measurement screen like before. So as you can see, no formula is here now. And I will just open the setup file, which we saved, and load it. So I can use the setup file for my next measurement, and the sum and everything is in here already.
Perfect. Perfect. So this is already live now. So if you press the tuning forks now, we can see the result of it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we see the sum and everything, and the calculation is actually happening live. It doesn't matter if we are recording or not, but we can see the result as well. Perfect.
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. exporting data into a different format is so important as well for measurement engineers. How is this achieved within Oxygen?
Okay, yes. So I will just open my measurement from before again. One thing I always did, but I didn't show you, well, I forgot, I would just like to mention right now is the zooming option, since this is an important thing to know. So you can either use the mouse to scroll through the data, you can also use the box up here, or you can use right-click on the mouse and drag your mouse to the right to zoom in on the time axis, or also on the y-axis. Or you can also create a box to zoom in a specific region. To get out, to step one, to step back, you just click on the right click on your mouse again, and you get one step back, which is, knowing these things is really nice, since it's really fast to navigate through your data. Okay, but coming back to the exporting function, I will open my export menu here. And I already see it's a really simple menu actually. I can select my channels, which I would like to export, either single channels or all the channels. I can select the format here, which different formats are available. Depending on the format, I have some options available here, and then I can just export my data. I can, of course, use the automatic export, which exports all my data on the measurement end. So I can adjust this in my setup. I can select all my channels, which I would like to be exported afterwards. Click this box, define my export folder, and then do my measurement. And after the measurement, everything will be exported automatically. Another nice thing to know is if I only open the menu as a small tab here, as a small menu, and I select my recorder, you can see it says export region between cursors, since I also have my cursors, just not in this. Let them activate again. So I have them here. So now I can export the region between my cursors, which is really nice, since I can select an exact time for my cursors by clicking on it and say between, or I put it on 26 seconds. So my cursor is exactly at second 26. And my second one I will put on almost, so on 28. And now I can export my data exactly for these 2 seconds, which is really nice. I can, I don't have to use all the data. Or what is also possible, if I disable the cursors, this will change to active recorder region. So now I would export this region here, so which displays only this yellow box in my whole measurement. So I can also reduce my whole data file if I don't need everything. If I just need a time range of my whole measurement, it is really nice to use this function.
Perfect. It's also important to mention that we are always working on updating Oxygen, of course, in different parts, and also the exporting part. So we are driven here by customers. If there is a need to export in a data file that we do not have yet implemented within Oxygen, please let us know. If the possibility is there to do so, we are going to do that. If there are any kind of data formats that you would need, let us know. Yet at the moment we are working for the data file .dat. I think that's diadem, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That should be released pretty soon as well. So again, we are customer driven for the exports, and if there is a need for any export or data file, let us know. We are going to do our best to implement that one. Yes, we have now everything, like we recorded, we analyzed, but we did not talk about some kind of reporting. Maybe if you have to do some internal reporting or even to a customer, and fast and easy reporting tool would be so helpful. So within Oxygen, it's possible. And could you show us that, please?
Of course.
Perfect.
So as I mentioned in the beginning, we have the reporting menu up here. So I can open my report menu and I can see an empty page, which is actually the same as my measurement screen. So I can enable the design mode. I can use different instruments on here. And I can just design maybe the sum I would like to display. Oops, I have to, of course, disable. I would like to display the sum here. Go a little bit closer. And then I would like to have a text instrument down here. Open instrument properties and say report. Okay, report. Okay, so this is not the very nice report now. But anyways, what I would like to show you is a really nice thing. So if you can just design your whole measurement report as if it was an measurement screen. If you open the whole menu, you can also change the orientation from portrait to landscape, for example. You can print the report to a printer, send a report to a printer, or also create a PDF here. You can select a icon, so you can select your company's icon for the footer, so it will always be displayed there, or also use the image instrument, for example, to have your company icon up here. The other nice thing, if I created my measurement screen like this, and I would like to have this as a report, I can also select my measurement screen, go to my reporting menu, and then click on the clone button. And now, as I can see, I have my whole measurement screen as a reporting page, which is really nice, so I don't have to do everything again. And the other nice thing is to show you that other than on the measurement screen, my time cursor up here is on the measurement screen, it is linked throughout all the measurement screens. So it is always on the same position, even if I change the measurement screen. For my reporting menu, it is independent. So here, for example, I would like to show to a colleague or my boss or a customer exactly this time point. I can move my time cursor here to always also see the values here. But on the first page, if I select my cursor, I would like to show them this. Let's make it a little bit bigger. I would like to show them this exact spot. So I will take my cursor here and move it up here to this spot. So if I change between my pages, I can see here I display this time range, and on my other page I can display this time range up here. So it's independent from each other.
So it's very important to have the same kind of page, and you want to show that same record on different timestamps. That's possible with this possibility, and that's also very necessary for reporting tools to do so. That's very nice to have. Perfect. Verena, we are having some questions being dropped, so if just keep it coming. And I would like to, before talking, or the very first question is what version of Oxygen we are using right now. So it's 5.4, and this is 5.4. Yeah, this is perfect, because my next question to you would have been what are the newest features of 5.4. So this fits perfect now.
Sure. Okay, so one feature I already mentioned, which is the MIL 1553, which we support now. The other feature, some other features which are new are within the spectrum analyzer. So the first thing is that you can change the x-axis between Hertz and CPM, which is cycles per minute. So we, of course, implemented this on customers' request. So I guess it was also your customer. So
yeah,
you already know.
yeah.
So you can change the scaling here. The other thing which is new for the spectrum analyzer is a little bit hard to show you now since we didn't hit the tuning fork. I can discard my measurement just real quickly to show you.
So why CPM is just for machinery analysis if you don't have to calculate the hertz back to the RPMs. So RPM is CPM in cycles per minute. It's just making it easier to analyze vibrations on any machines.
Yes, so okay, the other thing is the harmonic cursors. So I can actually, if I hit my tuning fork, you will see this signal. I can also freeze my screen just to show you the peak here at 440 Hertz from the tuning fork. And now I can select show harmonics, and I can select how many harmonics I would like to see. This is not such a nice signal to see the harmonics now, but it should be enough just to get an idea. So here I see the first harmonic at 800, or the second at 880, and the third on 1.32 kilohertz. Also, if I use this cursor and I move it, I can see also my harmonics move with it.
Very important for machinery analysis, again, mechanical vibrations analysis on turning machines. Was indeed a customer request and we implemented it. Nice.
Yes. The other thing is some improvement for all the instrument actually. So that's the transparent background. If I enable my design mode, as you can see, if I put one instrument above the other, the instrument is transparent. So I can, maybe if I have like a really full screen and I would like arrange my screen in a way like this, it's hard to see all the signals behind and maybe also to read everything up here on this instrument. I can disable the transparent background. And as you can see, now this doesn't have a transparent background anymore, and I can arrange my instruments according to it. The other nice thing, or the other new thing about Oxygen 5.4 is offline power. So you're not only able to calculate power online now, but also offline. So you can record everything and create your power group and do your power analysis in post-processing.
So electrical power analysis just is an advanced feature. We are not going to talk about it right now, but we have already webinars online, also on YouTube, to check those features, and they are now available offline as well, which is very important to know. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and the last thing I would just like to mention is not only a software update, but also a hardware update. So we have a new Trion module, which is a Trion analog out module, where a function generator can be used, or also conditioned or calculated signal output is possible. So of course, there's also a lot of done in the software, which can be used. So if anyone is interested in that, let us know, and we will get back to you also.
Yeah, so I'm just reading now as you are explaining everything through the questions, and one question is, can each monitor have a different window? That was asked during our split window demonstration. I think we answered that already. Yes, it's possible to have different views, of course, on different windows on different monitors. we have a very interesting question regarding the sensor database. I think that's very important to answer right now. We are running out of time, so I think this is going to be the last question to answer. If there are there are other questions, we are going to answer them after the webinar. But this last question I would like to answer is it possible to, so the sensor database, can it be exported to other DEWETRON devices? That's a customer like writing, we have multiple devices and we would like to use the same sensor database on multiple devices. Do we have to generate it for every DEWETRON system separately? Verena?
Okay, so the answer is no, you don't have to generate it each time. You just have to generate it once. And yes, you can use it on other devices. So as I mentioned before, you create the sensor database once in Oxygen, for example, and then automatically it gets saved, or it is saved as an XML file. So you can just, whenever you're done in Oxygen creating a sensor database, you can just take this XML file and copy it to the same folder on the other device, and Oxygen will automatically load it and you will see the sensors. Of course, if you change something, you have to copy and put it to your other devices again. But if you do it once, you can also just take it and use it for other devices. And another nice thing to mention maybe is that you not only can do it in Oxygen, you can also use a third-party software like Notepad or something to adjust or change something in the XML file and just copy it into the folder path of Oxygen, and Oxygen will update it and use it like that.
Okay, we also got some questions regarding some file exports, as I mentioned. They are dropping in now. We are going to answer them via email afterwards. So that's it. Could you, Verena, give us a short preview for the next couple of weeks, months, what is going to happen within Oxygen? Do you have any news for us?
Of course. So the next Oxygen release is planned for the end of March, which will be Oxygen 5.5. There are multiple improvements for the reporting are going to be included, so you can adjust the text size for the reporting pages, as right now they're sometimes a little bit small. There's going to be a password protection for the setup, which will be implemented. There will be a file name composer, so you can adjust your file name, how you want to name your file individually. So there's like more options available then. The export format for diadem, we already mentioned that. There's going to be some improvements for our video feature, and there will be the Q analysis also, which will be implemented. So these are just some of many other improvements.
I think we're going to have a separate webinar just on those improvements.
Yes, we are ready. We always plan a webinar for each Oxygen release to show our customers all the new features. So this will be after the release sometime.
Perfect. Perfect. I think that's it for today, Verena. Thank you so much for explaining those basics to the viewers. That's very important. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you have any further questions, as I said, feel free to contact my colleague and me. Our contact data is available on our homepage or on social media. If you know colleagues or people who would be interested in this webinar, it's going to be online on YouTube, and there's going to be another session on Monday evening, I think 6 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. Just jump on our homepage and have a look into it. And yes, that's it from our side. Just stay online after the webinar to give us some feedback, what you like of the webinar and what you would like to improve or what you would like to see in the future. That's it. Thank you for watching. Verena, thank you again so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.